Chapter 1. The road to Hollowmoor. The forest thickened as Emily and Jacob drove deeper into the countryside. The trees seemed to lean in, their gnarled branches forming a canopy that dimmed the evening light. Emily checked the map again, but the roads weren't marked. "We should turn back," she said, her voice uneasy. Jacob shook his head. "We're close. The journal said Hollowmoor Village is just ahead." They had followed cryptic instructions from a diary they found in Jacob's grandmother's attic. The entries hinted at a forgotten village, abandoned and cursed. But it wasn't until Jacob saw the drawing of the village's symbol, a crescent moon with a dagger through it, that his curiosity became obsession. As night fell, the road gave way to cobblestones and Hollowmoor appeared before them, a cluster of decaying cottages surrounding a crumbling church. Not a single light shone. "Looks deserted," Emily whispered. Jacob parked near the church. The silence was heavy, and the air smelled faintly of burnt wood and decay. Chapter 2. The watchful eyes. Emily felt the weight of unseen eyes as they stepped into the village square. The wind stirred the dead leaves, but no other sound broke the stillness. "This place feels wrong," Emily said. Jacob ignored her and approached the church. Its doors were locked, but the windows were broken. "Let's check inside." Reluctantly, Emily followed. The interior was worse than she imagined. Pews overturned, candles melted into puddles of wax, and a large altar in the center covered in black stains. Then she saw them, eyes carved into the walls. Hundreds of them, all staring. Jacob knelt before the altar. "This is where it happened," he said, brushing away dust to reveal symbols matching those in the diary. "What happened?" Emily asked. Jacob's voice was distant. "The villagers tried to bind something here." Chapter 3. The whispers begin. That night, they stayed in one of the less dilapidated cottages. Emily couldn't sleep. She kept hearing faint whispers, like voices carried on the wind. She sat up and glanced at Jacob. He was sitting at the edge of the bed, staring at the door. "Jacob?" she asked nervously. He turned slowly. His eyes were vacant. "They're calling." Emily grabbed his arm. "Snap out of it." Jacob blinked and seemed to wake up. "What's wrong?" "You were different," she said. "We need to leave." But the car wouldn't start. It was as if the village wouldn't let them go. Chapter 4. The ritual. Desperate for answers, they returned to the church. The whispers grew louder as they stepped inside. Jacob moved toward the altar, drawn by an unseen force. Emily tried to stop him, but he began chanting words she didn't understand. The ground trembled, and the stained altar pulsed with light. "Jacob, stop!" Emily screamed. He didn't listen. Shadows began to coalesce around the altar, forming a figure cloaked in darkness. It opened its eyes, two glowing orbs that radiated malice. Emily grabbed the diary and flipped through the pages until she found a counter-ritual. Her hands shook as she read aloud. The creature let out a guttural scream and lunged toward her, but she didn't stop. The light grew brighter, and the shadows began to dissipate. Jacob collapsed as the creature vanished. The whispers stopped. Epilogue. The village remains. The next morning, Emily and Jacob left Hollowmoor. As they drove away, Emily looked back and saw the village fade into the mist, as if it had never existed. But the diary still sat in Jacob's lap. And as he opened it one last time, new words appeared on the page. "The curse is not broken. It only sleeps." Somewhere in the distance, the whispers began again.